Is anxiety in the head or is anxiety in the body? In this so-called modern world, most people seem to think that it's in the mind, that's where it comes from. We say we feel anxious, but when you ask someone, it's usually centered around their thinking. Their thinking, it creates sensations in the body. So how people with chronic anxiety, something I've suffered from in the past, what happens is there's usually an event. And what happens, it either creates, it could be at work, it could be at home, it could be in a relationship, it could be money worries. There's something that creates anxiety. But what us humans tend to do is associate it with an external stimulus. So it's the negative relationship, or it's the stressed about money, or it's the difficult boss at work. Whatever it is, that's an external stimulus, but it's created from within. That's where anxiety comes from. Now, say the first time that you have difficulty in a relationship, or the first time that you have money worries, or the first time that you have difficulty at work, that becomes stored. It occurs in the body. It creates sensations of anxiety. It's also linked to dysfunctional breathing. That's primarily where it's coming from. Dysfunctional breathing, nervous system, signal to the brain. It says this situation is difficult, stressful, and creates anxiety. But it happens in the body. But what we do as human beings is then replay, because now I've got my situation that I'm worried or anxious about, and now I'm going back into work or back into that relationship or whatever it might be, and it gets replayed. It's like resentment. You might have heard of resentment. Resentment is it's from Latin. The resentment. So resentment. It's from sentorial, which means to feel. So it's to feel. So when we replay these things in our mind, we're actually re-feeling them. Yes, we can say that we're rethinking them, but the sensation of anxiety is being produced within the body. So, how can we change that? Reverse that? Well, what we can do is, again, look at the breathing, look at the nervous system, look at the story and the narrative that we're telling ourselves, and we can use some different breathwork practices and exercises to actually retell the story, reframe it in a way that it's more gentle, or more, not so much more gentle actually, it's more realistic. And when I say realistic, because what happens in our minds, we tend to blow things out of proportion. Take the word fear, for example. I do love an acronym: false evidence appearing real. It's kind of with those anxiety-producing situations. We're on guard, about going into work, in the relationship, at home, in the whatever it might be, because we've had the event prior. So it's about actually doing some breathwork exercises, meditation, some nervous system regulation, that we're replaying those situations, but in a controlled way. In other words, we put ourselves under stress, under anxiety producing. We can think it, because the nervous system does not know the difference between real or imagined, which is a really powerful thing to learn. The way we think, our nervous system doesn't go, oh, right, he's just imagining that situation, or this is just false evidence appearing real, because its purpose is to regulate all our bodily systems, whether it be breathing, our heartbeat, the way we breathe. That's all controlled by our central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. So if that's getting signals that we're sending it, like, ooh, this is scary, ooh, this job is difficult, ooh, my boss is this, or this relationship, constantly feeding it, then it's going to be on high alert. You're going to be stuck in the fight, flight, freeze response, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, it's the other branch of the nervous system, that's our rest, digest, recover, repair. But when we're telling these stories constantly and we get stuck on, switched on, high alert, no wonder it's creating anxiety and stress in the body. But there's a way to release it. There's a way to actually prepare ourselves, condition ourselves. It's like going to the gym. You don't just go to the gym and then just like lift, 50k, 100k. You have to work up to it because it's going to put stress on the body and it's going to create sensations of anxiety. It just is. And it's the same with our breath. If it's left unattended, just because it's optimal does not mean, just because it's automatic does not mean it's optimal, because it functions from our autonomic nervous system. So we need to step into the driver's seat. We need to take control some of the time so that we can prepare ourselves for these modern world situations. It's why so many people end up in this quick fix society. Quick fix, people will try to self-medicate or self-manage through alcohol, drugs, pornography, spending money, going on holiday, once a year for 2 weeks. Oh, build up to the holiday. Oh, great, we'll get away for a bit. It's escapism. It really is escapism. And it does not serve us well. It just doesn't. You go on holiday for 2 weeks and it takes you 3-4 days to actually switch off from the life you've just left. And then there's the last 2 days of the holiday, start thinking about what you're going back to. And then you're just back to square one. The problems just repeat themselves. It's the job that's the problem. It's the boss, it's the problem. It's I'm not being paid enough, it's the problem. There's little bits of truth in there, but how are we responding to that? Or are we reactive? Is our body reacting all over the place? Or do we have some kind of autonomy and sovereignty, governance over how we're feeling, rather than just getting the blame thrown out and torching everyone? Blaming people, places and things for how we are. And that's really, really common in this modern world. But there's a way out, Feel free to comment below, by the way, if you have any questions. I'm always open answering questions. Or jump on and book a discovery call as well if you're really interested and you'd like to learn more about this or find out what it is that I do. I share my professional experience, my lived experience, and I support others, to manage stress and anxiety. The way the world is, we can't eliminate stress and anxiety, but what we can do is learn how to manage it with the proper tools, with proper direction, with expert modalities, things that I have invested a lot of time into for my own life. I'm in a privileged place where I can give it away to support other people. So the question, anxiety, where does it come from? It comes from within. It comes from within. Yes, there's external stimulus, but it comes within. It's in our bodies. It's a physiology. There's a beautiful line, I say it often, that most psychology is misunderstood physiology. In other words, what's happening in our bodies, we can blame on our mind. They're bi-directional and one can't affect the other, but it's our responsibility to take the action so that we can live better lives. We can perform better, whether that's at work, at home, in a community. And it's as simple as breathing better and being better. You know, what will you have me be? I ask myself that question. You know, I ask it in my spirit and in my heart. What will you have me be today? You know, I want to be the best husband. I want to be the best employee. I want to be the best business owner. I want to be the best father. You know, and I can do that by self-regulation, breathwork, meditation, and nervous system regulation. Done.